we're back. It's a new year, new season of Formula 1, new cars, new drivers, new track, new race director, new medical driver. Same old podcast. This is the final corner. My name is Colin. I'm joined as always by Tom, the editor of Traction.gg.
Hello.
And by Nick, who is very good at liveries and Gran Turismo.
Hello.
And I sometimes contributed to Traction.gg.
Every now and then.
I'm the only one that's not part of it. I'm so left out. But at least we've got this podcast. Been a long off season, isn't it? It felt long, but even though if you look back, it was only 3 months ago, the season finale last year.
I think it's because we've had a full detox. We all got so fed up and depressed. It's like we had a big adrenaline high, and then after we've had a 3-month come down.
I've unsubscribed from everything F1 on social media because I was just like, I'd had enough of last season by the time it finished. I don't know about you, both of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, to a degree. I'm still pumped to see what's happening for this season, though.
Yes, excited about this season because we've got brand new cars, a couple of new tracks, a couple of old tracks coming back, and a few surprising drivers popping in and out, especially over the last few days. So probably best to start with the news from today, where Sebastian Vettel is now out of Bahrain this weekend. He has got COVID, and the internet is blaming Daniel Ricciardo for it.
Oh, because they were stood next to each other in a picture?
Yeah. So, he's out this weekend, but the Hulk is back.
Yes.
I'm so happy that Hulkenberg's back. It's just a shame.
Podium.
It's it's just a shame it's in the Aston Martin. But you never know. But this is the intrigue about this year, but nobody's really sure where anything lies.
No.
Does the Aston Martin have side pods?
It does.
Oh, well, it's rubbish then. If you listen to Christian Horner.
Does it have brakes? Because it doesn't seem like the McLaren does.
Oh, I'm glad Hulkenberg's back. Sorry, just quickly, because there's always that chance of, he's going to get a podium. I mean, probably not, but that would be such a good headline for Formula 1 at round 1. Yeah.
So, kick off this weekend at Bahrain for the first race of, I think it's 22 or 23 races. The Russian Grand Prix has also dropped off, but the strong rumours are the past few days is that Las Vegas might be in the running to host a race, I think, in the summer.
Also, Hockenheim as well. I've noticed today.
Either of those would be nice. Yeah.
Obviously, the whole Russia stuff we might as well cover now. Russian Grand Prix is gone, and gone for the foreseeable future, as is Haas's main sponsor, Uruguay, and Nikita Mazepin, and his dad. They're all gone. Ditched a couple of weeks ago. Ditched during testing, weren't they? The sponsor, and then in between the two tests, Mazepin was gone.
Yeah,
Fittipaldi drove one of the tests, didn't he, at least?
I don't think Haas could have done anything different, to be honest, given what's going on in the world.
Is it still going to go to court and stuff?
Are Uruguay or Mazepin taking action?
Yeah, they want their money refunded, but
Oh, that seems fair.
Yeah, I just don't know how much of the money was paid up front. Apparently it was all of it, but I don't know how true that is.
Wow. Well, that's going to be an unfortunate scar on the season if it bubbles over, but let's hope not. I mean, it's weird to see the Haas cars without any sponsor or like a sponsor-related livery design, and I have concerns about the funding of that team going forward. Well, Gene Haas is a very rich person, but I believe the team has to sort of survive on its own 2 feet.
Yes.
Maybe this year he's just gone, well, okay, it's unprecedented circumstances, so I'll fund it for this year, but please work hard to find more sponsors.
I think that is.
So we need some more Gunter pitches.
Yeah.
Like
in a boat.
Previous years. Yeah.
Apparently.
But anyway, Magnussen. Happy days.
Yeah, well, Gunter was saying that there is interest from sponsors. I don't know if that's him trying to create interest by saying there is interest. But
well, if you're able to run later than everybody else and set a really quick time in testing, that's a surefire way of getting some sponsors, isn't it? Yep. How about that for a theory?
I'm trying to bring out testing time.
Yeah. I was to say, though,
Yes.
I do prefer the livery.
Yeah, looks good.
It's much better than the Ural-Cali Russian flag one, which never looked good anyway, I didn't think.
Yeah, although, was it a Russian flag? It could have been France or Britain, as Gunther Steiner said.
Yeah, apart from the order it was in.
Yes, exactly. I mean, yeah, it looks really good. But it's like that whole thing. I don't want to dip into British Touringcast too much, but every year on the internet there's, oh, that livery looks terrible. Oh, this livery is awful.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that livery is how, it's paid for.
Mm-hmm.
Without the livery, there's no car. And with Haas, I guess if they do have sponsors, that might change throughout the year.
Yes, depends if they get a title sponsor or just lots of smaller sponsors.
Yeah.
How much
Jaff-
is sponsorship on an F1 car? Do we have budget for a little final corner logo in the corner?
Possibly not, but we could always ask.
No.
I mean, I'm going to guess it's more than 50 quid.
I wasn't thinking of
Hundreds?
that much, to be honest.
Come on, you wouldn't. If it was 50 quid, we'd chip in 3 of us. We would definitely do that.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if it included the hospitality.
If it's more than 100 quid, I think we might be in trouble.
Mm.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe touring cars.
Anyway, if Yuri Kali, how do I pronounce it? Sorry,
Oh, I don't know. Uruguay, I always said. But
Yuri Kalai. If they would like to sponsor a motorsport-based podcast,
Yeah.
our email address is.
yeah, I don't think that would go down well, taking on a Russian state sponsor at this time.
But they are putting the money into a Russian-based talent search, I believe, that was allocated.
Yeah, it was for Russian athletes who have lost their contract or
Yes.
have been sidelined because of what's going on.
Yeah, which is fair enough. What's going on is not fair enough. Just to clarify that.
Yes, no, I know what you mean.
But in that scenario, yeah, okay.
I must say I had to be careful how I word this, but I was pleased to see that Mazepin's gone, but not for the reasons that it's happened, because I just don't think Mazepin was ever right for that seat.
Well, it wasn't skilled enough.
No.
I didn't think. Or maybe it was, but it's a mental thing.
But I also feel sorry for him as well. Whereas before all this happened, I would have been like, Mazepin's gone, yay. Whereas now I feel a bit sorry for him how it's happened, but I think the grid is better for it.
There are worse things to think about and worry about than Mazepin's future at the minute. So it's got to take a
And
back
we
seat.
got the return of the Mag. K-Mag's back.
Oh, yes.
And he's quick immediately. Yeah. So, as you alluded to there, Tom,
Yeah.
they also got extra running at night because they missed the first morning of testing. But they got extra running, and they think they must have taken all the fuel at the car and put the engine up to max to put in some quick times.
Get some sponsors, lads.
Yeah, and it was colder as well at that time of night, which apparently makes it better.
But Mick was setting some good times as well, and it makes you start. Here's the thing. Let's get it out. The elephant in the room for me. It's a new season with new rules, so we're all daydreaming about Braun,
Yes.
and we're like, "Oh, Haas, come on!" Well, I'm going to temper that slightly and say it would be nice if they're in the mid. Maybe the midfield isn't a middle. It's just sort of
Yeah.
everybody. That's maybe not the top team or something. And I hope Haas is in that mix.
They have spent 2 years developing this
Yeah.
car, so
And they had the most wind tunnel and CFD time because of the way the rules worked over the last year.
But it still has side pods.
Well, Gunther has said that the first idea that they worked on in the wind tunnel a year ago was the Mercedes no side pod design, but it wasn't right for their
The rest of their aero.
how they're sort of planning to work the car. They said there are benefits to it, but they feel that bigger side pods had a better long-term benefit or more potential.
Fascinating. Wow. Well, maybe the Haas hype is true.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, Mick was 8th in general testing run on the final day, and then he's out of hours testing run, he was 2nd,
Right.
only behind Verstappen, so they're going to be competitive this year, unless everyone was sandbagging.
Yeah, I don't really read into testing times. I mean, I don't even read into free practice times, right? Because one lap doesn't represent your race pace. Well, like, at the end of practice, we're all like, oh, here's the top 10 quickest times. It's like, actually, that's completely irrelevant, because if they're just doing a race run,
Yeah.
you can't. It's just PR fluff. And the same is true for me for testing times. However, the old Haas wouldn't even be able to set those times on light fuel and worse conditions. So they are clearly closer or right in the mix. And that's the most exciting thing for me so far from testing is the performance of the Haas. I'm not going to say they're going to get a podium. But remember when Grosjean, did he finish 6th at their first race in Australia?
Yep.
It could be something like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, points would be a bonus this year for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, we're going to talk team by team. I think we've done Haas first.
Well, we did it in reverse order then, so who's next?
Yeah.
Sauber.
You do it in reverse order if you want. Alfa Romeo, Racing, Ferrari, Sauber, whatever else they are.
Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah, so they've also got Bottas in this year with Guan Yu Zhou as his teammate.
Oh, Zoe
Oh, is
Guan
it
Yu,
Zhou?
apparently.
Yeah, get it right,
Yeah.
Colin.
Apologies.
They've changed the way around, it said.
I don't think this is I don't think this podcast is available in China, so I don't think that's an issue for us. I don't know if I'll make it through the censors or not.
I feel bad and for not researching this. I don't know why it's switched around. Now he's in Formula 1 versus Formula 2.
And that is the way it should be said. And
Right. So
most
it's wrong all
people
along.
just said it the way that they felt it should be said.
Mark Wing-Ha had something like that in touring cars. Who's back in WTCR this year. And he drove Formula WTTC for Citroën and Formula E. And I swear his name was said the wrong way around for several years first as well.
And he was in F1.
Oh, he was in F1. Sorry, yes, you're right. The last F1 driver. He did some free practice runs, didn't he? Sorry.
It is Chinese tradition to put the family name first.
I see.
That's what I've read, so
Yeah.
Interesting.
they've decided to change it only for him.
You learned something new.
Yeah, but they looked, well, if don't remember the last year in testing, we all said, we think that
the Alpha.
the Alpha looks quite good this year. There might be a bit of a dark horse in midfield. And then they were awful. I don't think it was helped the fact that Kimi Räikkönen had checked out at the start of the year.
Yeah.
And Giovinazzi was up and down, hot and cold all at the time. He had a good run towards the end of the season. But they weren't in a good place with their drivers, they weren't in a great place with their car. It was all just a bit meh. I mean, there's some races I don't even remember seeing them on TV.
No, they weren't there unless Raikkonen made a gaffe by lining up wrong in the grid or getting angry on the radio about his water system not working. And that's a bad season if that's the most notable thing. Giovinazzi, you're right, was completely inconsistent. He was able to qualify very well on occasion. So there was something there in that car, but they didn't get it right. So let's hope they were developing this year's instead. Although they got off to a slow start in testing, didn't they? Didn't they have reliability issues? But I preferred the testing livery to the real livery. Is that weird?
It was like polka dots.
Yeah, it was like disguised.
Random.
That's all I got to say, though.
Favourite livery for the year so far? I'm quite a big fan of the McLarens.
Which is
Oh,
changing.
really? Yeah. Have you seen the Google sponsorship, Colin?
Yeah.
I've seen the change livery from second test, but I haven't seen with the Google on it. That may change me then.
Well, it's pretty slapped on there. It just says Android on the engine cover. But
Right,
the wheel covers are like the Google search colours,
Chrome,
which is
aren't
quite
they?
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that's one round or the full season, actually. I've not looked into that.
I
But
believe it's the full season. It seems to be some kind of branding deal as well. So they'll be using Google products for the team as well.
good, because I'm a big fan. But when the team was partnered with OnePlus, who I used to also be a very big fan of, you'd still see Lando Norris using an iPhone.
Yeah.
So let's see how we'll have to keep our eyes peeled throughout the year. We'll have to have an Apple Watch, not an Apple Watch, like Apple Watch, to see how many times the non-Google products are used, unless it's not phones and it's just like their technical resources and stuff.
Yeah.
But I like that they've got Google. I'm not saying Google is any company that's in technology is not perfect, right, for environmental reasons or data mining or whatever, but the other sponsors on the McLaren are nicotine, oil, and crypto. So this is an improvement.
Coca-Cola were there last year. I don't
Coca-Cola.
know if they're still on there.
I'm not sure about that. And they've got they've got another sponsor on there, which is not too bad either. But yeah, I'm glad that they're I'm not going to say ethical, but a bit better than just nicotine, crypto, and
Husky chocolate.
oh yeah, I wish they had.
For me, the Ferrari, by the way, is the best looking car on the grid this year.
Oh, just that's a fact, is it?
Yeah.
I don't disagree, by the way.
Livery or shape?
Yeah, yeah.
Because their shape is mad.
Yes.
Compared to what
Size.
Mercedes have went down, they've went completely the opposite.
Yes, they've looked at the stealth bomber.
Alfa Romeo?
For me, I'm thinking Alpha will be the slowest car at the start of the year.
It could be, yeah.
But I've no idea on that.
They've got a new CEO as well, haven't they, of the Sauber group and the Sauber team, I believe. So that will be a shift in dynamic as well alongside the new drivers. So it could just take a time to bed in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and just quickly on Haas, if that's okay. Can I regress? This is going to elongate the podcast, sorry. Were you surprised to see Magnussen and not like Fittipaldi or Hulkenberg in there? Because
Yes.
to me, it came as a shock when that rumour started circulating. I was like, why? Hasn't he already got a contract this year for the American championships, which he did, and they had two, and they both let him out without a fee, I believe, which was very generous. I just feel like it's odd to approach him.
Yeah, I was expecting either Giovinazzi or Hulkenberg, but apparently they weren't even in the running. They always wanted Magnussen back.
I wonder what Grosjean feels like now.
I
Because
think he's quite happy.
oh, he's very, very happy. But like, you know what I mean? Like, if he didn't have an Andretti contract, like Magnussen didn't have like a contract with a top IndyCar team, maybe that could have changed things.
Grosjean did say he would have said no, but as he wasn't asked, we'll never know if that's true or not.
True. Yep. And will he ever get that Mercedes F1 test? I doubt it.
I still think Piastri should have had it, but it makes more sense for the team to get a known quantity in, to be fair.
Hasn't someone organised... McLaren's organised Piastri already, haven't they?
Alpine have got him, but Alpine have said that they're going to share him with McLaren.
Yeah, in case Ricciardo's unfit, is that correct?
Yeah, but he's due to be back. He was released yesterday.
So maybe he's like locked in that imbroglio of discussions between those two teams, and that couldn't free him up for Haas. I don't know.
It is a bit of a shame that the F2 champion can't get a seat, but the guy that got beat in F2 gets a seat.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
then that's the way the world works, unfortunately.
That's a good point.
Callum Iwat, I still like seeing F1, but I think that ship sailed now.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely, sadly.
He's in IndyCar this year, though, so you never know if he has an outstanding year. The door's never shut, but it seems further away now, doesn't it?
Williams, we're obviously bringing back Alex Albon. Out of these, is he still under a Red Bull contract, or is he released?
Officially, he's been released, but I believe there was like provisos in that he can be reattached to a Red Bull contract.
Yeah, so there's 5 Red Bull drivers on the grid next year.
Yeah.
And also Nicholas Latifi staying with the team for another year. They were a bit of a weird one in testing. They never seemed to go for like a qualifying run. It all just seemed to be a long run.
So you don't know the pace at all, which is why testing's to look at the times too much is a bit pointless.
Yeah, but they don't look quick for what they were showing. But again, as you say, we don't know what they were running.
I've read through and watched a few lists of testing analysis pace, and everybody put Williams as the slowest, but I don't know. I hope that's not the case. I've always been a big fan of their boss at the minute, Jos Capito, because of his rallying days, and also his road car development days at Ford, which was really cool. There's an amazing podcast he did recently with Chris Harris on the Collecting Cars podcast. I do recommend listening to that. How they managed to get through the Focus RS through the Ford board and stuff like this. Very, very clever. But it seems like this was going to be the year that we're going to be winning championships, or maybe not that far, but I hope that's the case, and I hope it's wrong that the analysis has shown that they're not very quick at the minute.
Yes.
I do find Albon a strange signing, though. I like him. I think he's good, but it's just a bit weird.
I don't know, I'm pleased for him because I think
Same.
he didn't get a chance to fully show what he could do with Red Bull. But he needs to beat Latifi, I think. And if he can do that, that's good. If he doesn't, then I think that'll be the last season for him.
Yeah, you're right. If he doesn't beat Latifi when George Russell has spanked him, it doesn't look good, does it?
I'm a bit worried for Williams. I know they got bought over last year, so they're not like in immediate jeopardy anymore. But if they've got these cars wrong, development's not. Like, you're not allowed a huge amount of development over the next few years.
Someone on the grid will get it wrong.
Yeah.
Like I said, let's hope it's not Williams.
No.
Mind you, if a team leaves, Andretti's potentially joining. We'll see.
Yeah. Apparently they're looking at a full new team rather than trying to buy someone out. And
brave.
There's been a lot of news stories about it, and seems to be a mixed response.
Yeah.
But I think the response from F1 management has been positive, at least.
And the other rumour percolating is that Audi's paused its Le Mans upcoming Le Mans program. And people are going, oh, well, hang on a minute, does that free up funds for Formula One? But I'm not too sure. But potentially Audi's joining with an engine somewhere. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled on that.
Yeah, I think that will happen for the next engine regulations, but I don't think we'll see an Audi or Audi Group team, just like you say, an engine.
Yeah.
Next on the championship last season then was the very disappointing Aston Martin. I much prefer the livery in it this year.
Oh, yes.
Compared to last year.
It is a much improved livery. The colour is not traditional British racing green anymore, but it works a lot better on TV.
Yeah, because they were basically black on most races on TV. Although you did see the difference in person.
Yeah.
I noticed it's just the whatever colour saturation they have on the TV cameras didn't pick up at all. Plus the Mercedes changed this year, so there's not really any confusion. As there would have been. But that was such a disappointment last year from where they were in 2020.
Yeah, the whole low rake issue.
Easy to forget that. Easy to forget that.
Yeah,
they were damaged by rules deliberately designed to inflict pain upon Mercedes.
That's what happens if you copy other people's work.
Yeah.
Well, that's true, yeah. Old Otmar, he was so unhappy with that. He's at Alpine.
Yes.
Yeah, poor Otmar. Well, I say poor Otmar, I think it was his decision because he was speaking during testing to Crofty and Martin Bundle. And he was basically saying that when VJ Malia was there, he was left on his own. He only seen VJ twice a year. So he could do what he wanted, but when Big Papa Stroll came in, he kind of took over.
Yeah, you can't have two popes, is what he said as well.
That's a great quote.
To be fair to him, they've kind of went backwards last year, but as you say, that's probably more rule change than internal mistakes. But I think the way he was kind of phrasing things since he's left the team is that if he was in control, he'd been fine. But again, he's not going to be the head guy at Alpine as well because they've got
a very weird structure, haven't they?
Yeah, they've got quite a few hands in the pot in terms of F1 now since they booted out. Oh, what's his name? Oh, it's terrible.
Cyril Abiteboul.
That's it. Since they booted him out, they basically completely restructured that team and company.
Yeah.
My understanding is they've got Davide Brivio, who took Suzuki to a MotoGP world title the year before last. And I thought he was going to be the head honcho, but he's not. And I believe he's actually got a slightly revised role this year, so Otmar is more of a clear leader.
Yeah.
Along with someone else. So I think there's a few senior people, but they now have I think last year they had a clear figurehead per se. I know in Drive to Survive there is a CEO, but he's not like a team principal as such.
No, didn't they have that, what's it, Marcin Budkowski?
Right, okay.
I believe his name was, who was essentially covering that role.
Yeah. But now they've got a defined leader, I think. Anyway, that's Alpine. Aston Martin.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, it's all right.
Aston Martin's got a new team principal as well, hasn't it?
Yes.
Next favourite.
Yes, try not to snigger, but it is Mike Crack.
What was that?
Mike Crack.
Oh, Mike Crack.
Well, what did you have to do for an interview to get your crack involved? That'd have been an interesting Zoom call. Yeah, so he was from BMW, I believe. He was the head of BMW Motorsport.
Yes.
It's almost like we've researched it before.
Yeah.
Google is their friend.
Aston Martin have got so much pressure on them, more than... I sound like Pep Guardiola, more than you believe. It's not.
He's Spanish. He's not Dutch.
Yeah, so ignore the accent. He says more than you believe. So, yes, of course, they've got the F1 team. A huge investment. The Strolls, the sponsors. Brand new facility being built at Silverstone as we speak. But that company, on a macro level, including road cars, not doing very well. And still not doing very well. So they desperately need that whole sort of halo effect of, if we win some races, can you buy some cars, please? Because, yeah, I think they're struggling. So it's a pivotal year for that company more than just the F1 team.
Yeah, the team itself seems to be struggling from what people have said during testing, but as I say, we can't really tell. People have said they don't look quick, but... And obviously Vettel was not being there as well. How well will Hulk get on?
Race 1, I'm telling you.
Podium.
It's going to happen.
It's going to be awkward if he beats Stroll, though.
Yeah.
It'll be beautiful.
Yeah.
Day 2 of testing, Stroll was 3rd or 4th, including the Haas time. But if you put that time into the final day's testing, he's down to like 13th. So doesn't look quick. You're right. I'm worried about them because Force India and Racing Point are a great team, though. The pucky underdogs, and all of a sudden they're now part of this big structure with some money behind them, and it's a completely different dynamic.
Yeah, strange that, isn't it?
What do you think of Vettel this year? Do you think he's still got it in him? I was reading over the winter, Martin Brundle's basically saying his best days are gone.
It depends, I think, in how these cars are to drive. Because I still believe that a lot of his problems were down to the way the rules set went. But has this fixed that for him or not is another matter. Because he really likes cars that had the blown diffuser, which give all the extra downforce at the rear. And I suppose in theory, these new rule sets should also be similar in that, but I have to see.
AlphaTauri were 6 last year.
Only just.
I had in the head that they were higher, but then looking back at last season's results for
half a season, they basically only had one driver scoring points. So
yeah, I'm just looking back at Yuki Tsunoda's season. He had 7 points finishes. Compared to Pierre Gasly, who missed out on the points, I think, 6 times.
They also had a front wing that was more brittle than a dime bar. So it was just snapping off every time they drove over a curb.
I mean, the car looked decent last year, but you're right, they had one hand time into back with Yuki. Again, testing times, they look fairly competitive.
They're never going to be quicker than Red Bull, though. Ever.
No.
Well, they're a sister team now, they're not a junior team. So they are... That's a better status,
the
apparently.
Younger sister, though.
Yeah. So, again, if Yuki's up to speed, they could be quite competitive in the midfield with Pierre there, who is one of the best performing drivers in the grid the past few years.
Yeah.
I know we said we'd talk about Drive to Survive in our time, but Yuki doesn't seem like an F1 driver in these episodes, really.
No.
Doesn't like training, he doesn't like meetings, he doesn't like engineering, he doesn't seem like anything about his job, and he's a very angry man in the car.
Yes.
So I'm not sure how much he enjoys his life, but
He enjoyed a few poos, it seemed. That's what he used to
Oh,
say
yeah.
quite often. But yeah, that's another matter altogether.
That's so funny.
But I think he will do well this year, Yuki. Well, I hope he will. I really like him as a driver. If he's got that confidence and he's at home with the car to start with, I think he could probably not do as well as Gasly, but at least be in the same ballpark.
it all started so well for him last year in Bahrain. The first race, he was overtaking Alonso and everyone was excited, basically. And then it seemed like more of a mental thing than driving talent, because as I said in the documentary, he was trying to go too fast all the time and binning it.
It's the old Helmut Marko effect.
Yeah.
Too much pressure.
He doesn't seem like the kind, care and put your arm around your shoulder kind of guy. He's more of a you effing idiot
Yeah.
kind of guy.
There's that whole clip where he's having a go at is it Jaime Alguersuari? That came up on my YouTube feed over the winter, and he's definitely not a supportive character.
No, definitely not.
Things with no Kimi on the grid this year, I think Yuki could fill that same kind of role with that nonchalance.
Oh, yeah. F Liberty Media's rubbing their hands together.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yuki Tsunoda's still on the grid. Play them radio clips.
Get the bleeper ready. So, Alpine, I think Kenny's spoken about them. They weren't the quickest in testing, but the general feeling is that they're going to be quick.
It's a horrible livery.
Yes.
It's terrible.
Both of them are.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got two liveries and you messed them both up.
So, but they're running BWT for the first two races, I think.
Yeah.
And then reverting back to their normal livery, which is awful. Alonso's been talking up about how quick the car is going to be once they get on top of it, but I'm not convinced.
Now we all remember Now We Can Fight.
Yeah.
Yes. And we can all remember all the false dawns of the past few years with Renault that never came.
Yeah. Was the last time that team was truly competitive, the Lotus years?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
That's a long time ago.
For a season long, anyway.
Yeah. When Raikkonen was there in Grosjean.
Yeah, it's almost 10 years.
And then Pastor Maldonado drove from and it was game over.
Oh, yeah.
The kiss of death.
The parts bill went up.
Yeah. And they had the awful nose cone. Anyway.
God,
yeah, that was bad, wasn't it? Another team with a lot of pressure on them because I think all through last year, Alonso in particular was saying like, oh, next year is going to be the one. It's all right. Focus on next year. Which is why when he joined the team, that's fair play. That is the goal, right? So now it's time to deliver.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Alpine, and I still want to call them Alpine, by the way. I'm not so sure they're going to move up the grid. I think they're going to drop down slightly. But
I'm skeptical too. I don't know why. I just don't know. I'm based it purely on the last few years.
Yeah.
Having a really inconsistent car that can be quick, but they don't know why, which is always the death knell.
Yeah.
Right? But I do think they've got good drivers. I don't want to knock them too much.
Oh yeah.
They've clearly got some funding, and they've got extra sponsorship this year. But I don't know. Not convinced.
Unconvinced so far.
The livery's putting me off. It could be blinding me though. It could be the quickest car in the world.
True.
And a winning car is a pretty car. That's how it works.
Oh, he can't win then.
You just wonder about the future of Alpine because it was touch and go under Renault and then rebranding it as an obscure sports car division that I think only still has one car for sale.
Yeah.
It just seems so bizarre.
The future of the road car division will expand. So, you've opened a can of worms there, but I'm diving straight in. As someone who's just bought a Renault Sport Clio and loves it and thinks it's brilliant, it deeply, deeply saddens me that the Renault brand, especially in mainland Europe and the UK, has sort of become less and less important and significant. And one of the factors I think is that the Renault Sport division, which used to be called, which tied into Formula One, but they made some genuinely good road cars, are sort of, I don't know. It fell away, it fell from grace, and now they don't do it anymore. I read an interview with the boss, a Renault boss. He said, "Oh yeah, since we stopped doing the RS Clio, the sales of the Clio have gone down." It's like, all right, so bring it back. Anyway, that whole division is just being rebranded Alpine, and they're all hard at work at making fast Alpines that are going to be electric and hybridized. So there will be a full range of fast Alpines to time with a Formula One team in another year or two. So what suggests to me is, okay, well, you want the promotion to work to build the brand for the road cars, you've still got to keep going for another 2 years.
Yeah.
So I feel like their futures may be more secure than Aston Martin. But that's only a guess. And apologies, I think I've had that Renault rant on the podcast before.
Is Clio still running?
Ooh. Let's talk about that another time. Yeah. I didn't buy it for it to be reliable.
No.
McLaren. Team who had a dodgy future about 12 months ago.
Yeah.
And a bit of a better place now. I think their road cars division's still struggling though.
It is, yeah.
But
they've just delayed their big plug-in hybrid car, which hopefully it's good. That'll come out this year, and that'll be more relevance to the Formula 1 car. But I think they've had a difficult development path with it.
F1, though, they seem to be struggling in testing.
Yes.
They had problems with the brakes, they just had general reliability problems, and they didn't look too quick over the 6 days of testing.
And Ricciardo didn't do much driving, right?
Didn't do any in Bahrain.
Yeah. But then, to rephrase it, they only had Lando going around. They didn't put another driver in there.
No.
Correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just Lando.
I thought that was a bit weird.
Yeah, I just don't think they had anyone.
Yeah, but there'll be someone somewhere.
There are people.
Yeah. I would have done it. Or, realistically, there would have been an F2 driver. Or an IndyCar driver. Or someone else's... who's their reserve driver?
They share Mercedes reserve drivers, so it's Stoffel and Nick De Vries, but both, I believe, were busy.
And they're sharing Piastri this year as well.
Yes, but that was only agreed after Ricciardo tested positive for COVID.
Yeah.
So that sharing reserve drivers didn't work there, because when they needed a reserve driver, they didn't have one.
Yeah.
So that's stupid.
Yes.
They've got an IndyCar team.
Well, they've also they now have
stick one of them in.
Colton Herter as a test driver. They've signed him since this, but it's to test
too late.
The older car, more to test him as a driver than testing the cars out.
Yeah, that's fascinating though.
Mm-hmm.
The big push behind trying to get an American driver in.
Yeah,
I believe Ricciardo's out of contract at the end of the year.
Yeah, he needs a big year.
He does.
But yeah,
one race win was great, but not convincing last year.
And hopefully they're on top of their brake problems that were cropping up in testing.
I mean, testing by very nature and its name is testing. And it's there to weed out problems.
Yes.
So you would expect them. I know there's quite a short gap. That's the challenge between the test and the race. But you would hope they'd have something sorted. I believe there's very little in the way of brake ducting visible at the front.
Yes.
Which some people were querying, and then all of a sudden, oh, hang on a minute, their brakes are on fire.
Yeah, they did a bodge job on a few sets of parts so they could do some running in the test, but they should have...
some serial boxes?
Yeah, it should be revised now for the actual weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. All 3D printing and their resources they've got, or whatever it is, to prototype things quickly will be rapid turnaround. But it's whether or not that's a fundamental design flaw that they're just bodging.
Yeah.
Or it could be, for all we know, it could be just a part supplier issue, right? Built to the wrong tolerances.
Yeah.
And Lando Norris signed a new 4-year contract, I think.
Yeah.
Which I find a very strange decision on his part.
Oh, really?
Red Bull were sniffing about him a year and a bit ago.
Yeah, but you'd always be number 2 to Max, right? At McLaren, it could be the number 1 after last year.
It could be, but it could be number 1 in the midfield team. And that's my worry about McLaren and now. The cost cap and everything will help them, but if you get the set of rules wrong or you're just not on top of it, it could be a struggle for a few years. So to commit 4 years of your career to a team that you're not sure if they're ever going to get back to the top, it could be a bit of a risk for them. I don't know if there might be get-out clauses in the middle of it, but considering top teams were sniffing about you a year ago, it seems a bit strange, but I'm assuming he's getting a big bumper pay rise for that.
Yeah, I suspect he was on a junior driver wage, right?
Well,
up until this point.
Yeah, he was on his second contract already, so this will be his third one he's signed. So, yeah, this is probably the big money kicking in for him.
Yeah.
Since if you look at that team, you'd say he's now number 1 driver.
Oh, yeah.
Over Ricciardo.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. if I was a McLaren contracted driver like this and had a 4-year deal and it was like, I'm basically the number one driver, I would negotiate a McLaren F1 road car into that deal. If I win a race, can I have one of them, please? Because they're worth, what, $60 million now?
Are they?
Something bananas like that, yeah.
Did you get Hamilton to buy you one?
Could you? Yeah. Could you believe, though, that when they went on sale, they couldn't sell them? And now it's like the most valuable car in the world from the last 40 years or something crazy.
There's one less, though, with Ronax and putting his around a tree about 10 years ago.
I think he had it rebuilt, and that would have been a good investment because it's probably still, even though it's been crashed, got it doubled the value since. So
yeah, very true. So McLaren, it's again hard to tell, but where are we thinking this year? I think they'll probably be around the 5th mark. Just by looking at what's going so far.
I actually think it's going to be more of a 4-way at the front between McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull.
Oh, when you were saying, I thought, here we go. This is bold.
It's not.
It's going to say they're going to finish last.
No. I don't think any one team is actually going to dominate this year, and I think it could be circuit dependent as to who's doing well.
So it's 2012 all over again. And if so, sign me up.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just wishful thinking on my
That's
part.
what we all want. No, you've sold me now. That's it. 4 teams at the front would be just what everybody needs. It's just a tonic after last year.
The McLaren did so well the first half of the year.
Yeah.
Last year, and then it kind of fell away at the end. So I hope
Ferrari
they're back.
came out strong too.
Yeah, I really hope they're back. I'm just a bit worried after testing and what everyone's kind of talking down their chances of being at the front. But I hope you're right. And I hope Ricciardo has a good year, otherwise he's in trouble.
Yeah, same.
Because he must be. I know he took a wage cut from his Renault days, because I think he was getting something like 30 million there. Even that, so everyone will be questioning whether he's worth the investment at that point. Unless, I don't know, Perez has a terrible year and Red Bull take him back. I think he'll be struggling for a competitive team if he doesn't pick it up.
I think for me, the whole goal, and I could be wrong here, was to try and get with Ferrari, but it didn't happen. And maybe he signed with Renault for 2 years to just pad for time. Well, I'll get him with Ferrari, and they weren't interested. And I don't see any other. It's McLaren or bust, isn't it?
It is for Ricciardo. Yeah.
Unless someone's completely desperate like Red Bull, but they've got such a pipeline of drivers now. Gasly would be above him in the pecking order, I'd imagine.
You would think so, although they don't seem to ever want him back in that Red Bull. But
are they giving Liam Lawson some runs this year?
I believe so, and I like Liam Lawson as well. I
Same.
think he's a good driver.
But he has to do better in F2 this year, but he's got potential, I think.
Onto the stars they tested, no? Ferrari. They have the maddest looking car.
It's another team that I also hope are up there again. Like you were saying that about McLaren. I've never really been a huge Ferrari fan because I grew up in an era where it dominated and I thought that was quite boring. Obviously, looking back, and now I'm more mature and understand things, I fully appreciate the tifosi and the fandom around them and this aura. I don't really like how sometimes they've handled like the rules in the past and how it felt like the FA was biased, etc.
By handle the rules, you mean cheating?
You said it. But in this Sainz Leclerc era, I'm a top fan.
Yeah.
And Benito.
They have the most exciting driver lineup on the grid.
Yeah.
I think that Sainz might be ahead of Leclerc now. Not in terms of stature in the team, but his performances last year were outstanding in his first year. He beat him in the championship. And he could be taking the Golden Boys' #1 seat, really.
Here's the thing. I think Sainz is a better all-round driver than Leclerc. But Charles is the favoured son, the golden boy. Doesn't he have the longest contract in Ferrari history or something crazy?
Yep.
So if Ferrari are competitive, he gets the status. That's my thinking. And then you have to think, well, does Sainz have to go somewhere else and they get Schumacher in as a #2 driver the year after?
Well, it is his last year of the contract, Sainz. But if he does what he did last year,
keep him
man.
on. Yeah, of course. But I I think if Ferrari are quick, which by the way, been here, was it year before last in testing? Or
I've
everybody
been
thought
here every year
Yes.
Okay,
for the
every
past
year.
10 years, apart from that one where they got caught cheating.
But hypothetically, we are saying that if they were, so we're not saying that they are going to be. I still think Charles gets the preferential treatment at that point. I just don't think they mattered too much last year because they were fighting for third.
Yeah, the big test now is if they are as quick as everyone thinks they are, they're going to be fighting for wins. It might not be as friendly as it was.
No, especially if Sainz is fighting for his first win. He hasn't had a win yet, has he?
No, he hasn't. Correct.
Been close a couple of
No.
times.
Yeah. So that could be awkward if it's him and Leclerc going for the same win. But yeah, I think you're right in that Sainz is probably the better overall driver. I do think Leclerc is the quicker driver on his day.
Ooh, that's a fair point.
I think that's a good combination, though.
I think it is. Outright speed and consistency. That's what you need for a Constructors' Championship, right?
Yeah.
Well, it could be like Jason Plato and Darren Turner at Croft in 2006.
I'll take your word
Well,
on
you're
that.
on your own on that.
Yeah.
All I know is that would have been in Seats.
Correct.
That's all I can remember. Yeah.
They basically, Turner was leading. It was going to be his first win, but he got the call to pass it over to Plato. So Plato
yes.
came through, but then on the line, stopped and let him pass. And then the interview was like, no, you never take away a first win from a driver. Or some crap like that.
I'm surprised he didn't just... Oh, he did. He was taking credit for someone else's win there again, wasn't he? I was going to say, he did that with Top Ingram when it was his first win. Oh, good old Jason.
I love the fact that this is an F1 focused podcast today, but we still get Jason Plato in.
Sorry, that's me. That's me.
He'll love it. He just loves being
Yeah.
mentioned.
Is Google a little ping off?
Red Bull, number 2 team last year, also won the driver's title. Quickest in testing. They brought upgrades which put them to the top of the timesheet on the final day. Max also quickest. Perez was 7th on the final day of testing. I think they're probably going to be the team to beat, unfortunately, again. Rather than it being... I'm not as convinced by you guys that it's going to be as close at the top. I've just got a feeling about Red Bull that they're going to run away with this.
You said unfortunately there, Colin. That's biased.
I want a competitive championship. It's nothing against Christian Horner or Helmut Marko or Stephen Wheatley.
Jonathan
Wheatley.
Adrian Newey.
Adrian Newey. I don't mind Adrian Newey.
I've got Adrian Newey's book on the shelf just there, and I've still not read it, but I hear it's very, very good.
I was going to say that, but if you read it...
No. It's called How to Build a Car, and it's quite big. And I thought, it's going to be super technical, but apparently it's actually his sort of life story and history more than like a technical guide. So I know that I will eventually get to it.
Yeah, I'm worried this is going to be a Max dominating championship from the start.
And you're worried because you're jingoistic?
Well, we're all excited about 2022. Thanks. There's no Scotsman on the grid. So.
That's true.
But we're all expecting 2022 to hopefully be close. But I've just got this funny feeling that it's not going to be to start with.
I'm only winding you up there. I feel the same way. Like,
I hope I'm wrong.
If Max wins again and Red Bull wins for the first time in a long time for the constructors, I'm happy with that completely. Like, it's just would like a close fight, please. I don't want to see Vettel era Red Bull. I want to see 2021 Red Bull where there's a scrap.
Yeah, I'm not convinced Red Bull are the quickest car.
Good. Keep saying that. Why?
They are apparently the most stable. They seem to be the car that's suffering the least with the whole bouncing. I'm deliberately not using the other word because it's annoying me.
Porpoising.
That's
How
the
do you
one.
say it? Porpoising? Porpoising? Purposing? That's wrong, the last one.
Porpoising.
Porpoising.
But yeah, someone did keep saying porpoising and it was annoying me as well.
Bouncing, as you say.
Yeah, they don't seem to be suffering with that at all. And I think a lot of the other teams will go quicker when they solve that problem.
I don't think the McLaren does either, does it?
Not so much, no.
The AlphaTauri definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember the mass damper? Was it the Renault in the Alonso
Yep.
years?
Sugary weight they had in their nose.
Yeah, exactly. And it meant they could ride the curbs more. It was like when they went over a curb,
Yeah.
it was really smooth. Obviously, a completely different technical thing, but the Red Bull seems to be riding the bumps better, let's say.
Yeah. Well, George Russell has said that he thinks they should allow active suspension to solve this problem.
Oh, to fit hand in hand. Yeah, but that's a can of worms, and
Yeah.
that's not exactly cost cutting, is it?
No, exactly.
I mean, the way that teams can fix it is to raise their ride height. But also, they don't want to do
Yes.
that. So
And then
they're
they're
all
slower.
so they'll try to achieve a balance.
Mm-hmm.
It will have to vary track by track, won't it? Which
True.
could lead to track by track performance advantages, which is interesting.
Yeah.
It's the old Giancarlo Fisichella at Spa syndrome. I want to see that.
Yeah. He went to Ferrari immediately after his pole there, didn't he? And then he was like 18.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he did better than Luca
Quite
Badoa.
Badoa levels.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, exactly.
My dad could do it better than Luca Badoa. He was test driver for like 15 years and finally got his chance, and he was nowhere. It's like, okay, this is
Yeah.
why you've been test driver for 15 years. You've been nowhere near the actual car.
Fisichella did well out of it in the end because he got a Ferrari GT drive for like 10 years after that.
Yeah.
So, fair play.
Red Bull will be interesting to see if Perez is actually good enough to be the second driver, because he was just about by the end of the season. But can he be there all season this year?
It was amazing in Abu Dhabi and average everywhere else. Is that a bit harsh? A bit harsh.
Yeah, no, I think that's right.
I don't think anyone's doubting his racecraft, but he couldn't, in that car, be anywhere near as quick as Verstappen. And as we discussed a lot last year, the gap sometimes in qualifying was about the same as Albon. It's just that the Red Bull wasn't so far at the front the year before that, so therefore it looked worse when Albon was in 10th or 8th or whatever.
Yeah.
So, this year, though, is a clean slate with the rules, so this is a chance for him to be closer.
Yes.
And so I don't mind that he wasn't so close in qualifying last year, but if he is this year, then that's a tricky scenario for him contract-wise.
And also the car can be a bit more tailored to him because they've had
Correct.
a year to know his driving style and everything else, whereas last year it was just straight into the car.
Like you think Red Bull's going to tailor it to him.
Well, I mean more in the setup, not in the way the car's made.
Yeah.
That's just going to be for Max.
Yeah. Wait, Perez has been speaking for the season saying that he wants a long contract because Verstappen's has been given a long contract. But
It's not how it works, mate.
yeah, no, he's living in dreamland if he thinks that.
Now, he is bringing back in, isn't he? Not that Red Bull need it. That's the problem he's got. I think any other team that might help sweeten the deal.
Yeah.
But Mateschitz doesn't care about that, I don't think.
No, I doubt it. But on the champions then, Mercedes, wild or different design from anyone else. They've got the tiny side pods. I'm not going to say no side pods because I know that
don't say
upsets Nick. They went for a really... They've changed in between the first test and second test. They went for a really narrow, sleek design. And they're not really on top of it so far. Which makes me think, well, going by what they're saying, it could take them a while to get used to this. And it could be 5 or 6 races in before they're totally competitive. But we have heard this before from Mercedes. Every year for the past 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So
Don't you find
it's
the
hard to
whole
see.
design exciting? Like, was it smoke and mirrors for the first design? The shakedown before the test? Or is this even the final design? I love that. I love that. It's so much gamesmanship.
I don't like the look of it. if I'm
Oh,
honest.
no. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
It is horrible looking. It looks like it's been melted. But it's obviously, they've just went with whatever the CFD's told them.
Mm-hmm. Everyone has a slightly different concepts to go with. Apparently the way that this one works is to get the airflow down to the floor as quick as possible to create vortices or something to help seal the ground. The ground effect, sorry. Whereas the other cars are sending the air more towards the rear of the car to help with pushing the rear down. So it's sort of a different philosophy to it. No one really knows which one is the right one yet.
Huh.
They've been really struggling with the bouncing, so they're struggling. It's not the right way so far. But if it comes out that they've nailed this, it's going to be a real struggle for teams like Ferrari to compete with Switch philosophy.
Everyone's thinking about the Lotus skirts or the Brabham fan car, but I'm not sure. I don't think we'll even find out in Bahrain. Like, the first race of the year is always a weird one. We've got to wait 1 or 2 rounds before we know. Like, they could be at the back or midfield, but it might actually still be good if they could just bring a few more upgrades to it. But I love it. This is exactly what everybody was after with these new rules, is some weird innovation, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. It's different.
Plus, they've got rid of the millstone that was round their neck in Valtteri Bottas, and now they've got a potentially competent second driver in George Russell in there.
That's going to be a fascinating dynamic, because he's not going to play number 2 easily, is he?
No, you'll have to if he's not level or ahead with maybe a third of the season to go. But
correct.
If he can get there or thereabouts at the start, then he can make it very difficult for Lewis.
It's a completely different scenario, but it reminds me of when Hamilton joined McLaren with Alonso.
Yeah.
So, if you thought Toto Wolff was on fire in Drive to Survive for last year, he might have an even bigger challenge this year.
I think if they're not competitive to start with, that might actually help George, because it might be quite a harmonious team, because they're all working to get the car where they want it.
Also, he's used to that.
Yes, he is very used to that. But if they came in right away and they're fighting for wins and he's having to fight with Hamilton, there could be friction there pretty early.
Yeah.
Mind you, the team's managed it before. I'm not saying they managed it well, but when Rosberg, he was actually a challenger to Hamilton. Easy to forget him, right?
I try to. No,
you don't subscribe to his YouTube channel?
It's just his post F1 that I can't stand.
Yeah, correct. I'm with you on that one. He's gone very Jacques Villeneuve clickbait.
Yes.
That's where the money's made.
Well, here's another...
But does he sleep at night?
Another one for you with my predictions, by the way. Russell to finish ahead of Hamilton this year.
Where do you think Hamilton's head's at for this season? Do you think he'll be motivated after last year? Do you think he's still hurting? Do you think time's catching up with him? He's always the same in interviews, so it's hard to gauge how he actually is.
I think if he's in contention for a championship, he'll be a much more focused driver. I think if he's not in contention for the championship after the first sort of 6-7 rounds, I think he'll fall back further back down.
Yeah, because it's been a long time where he's been fighting for nothing.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. Not 100% sure he's going to be fully focused, but he's saying the right things. I'm just not convinced, to be honest. I think last year really stung him. And he knows he's at the end, even if he is going another year or two. He knows he's at the end, so I'm not sure if he'll have the same motivation as he did last year. Especially if the car's not where he wants it to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
He wants that 8th title, I think, and if he can't see a route to that, I think he's going to struggle.
Would Ferrari sign him next year?
No.
I think that would be really cool if that happened. But
it would, but I can't see them changing their driver lineup unless something drastic happens with Leclerc and Sainz.
Yeah, we're doing that.
If they aren't competitive, he's going to be like Alonso at McLaren. It'll be a nightmare to deal with, I think. Because he's not here for the long term. He's here for this season, maybe next. It's not like he's waiting for a new project to kick off. He's going to be... He needs it to happen now.
I think the main determinant of their performance this year, Mercedes, is the quality of the pumpernickel.
This is true.
That is the top priority of Total Wolff.
I still don't actually know what a pumpernickel is.
No.
It's
like a rye bread. I had to Google it.
Yeah. I've heard it before, but I still no clue what it was.
I'm guessing he's having the bacon that wasn't crispy enough on it.
Yeah.
You just know that bloody Ted's notebook is going to ask him about that.
Oh, of course.
Like every week until it's completely not funny anymore.
So, do Who do you think is going to win the title this year? That's a big question.
Shall we do? Are we doing predictions now? Shall I write them down this time so we actually remember?
I won't remember. I remember one of mine last year, and it was McLaren was winning a race. So thank you, Danny Ricciardo. Can't remember anything else.
Let me open. This is live spreadsheeting.
Ultimate excitement.
Oh yeah. Here we go. Colin.
Extreme spreadsheeting, I think, would be a better term.
Extreme spreadsheet. Nick. Tom. Right, you can hear me typing and everything. Right. So drivers. Title. You asked the question, didn't you? So Nick.
I don't know. I think Ferrari have got the fastest car.
That's not the answer we're looking for.
So,
He's giving you the explanation.
Over a whole year, I think it can only be Hamilton or Verstappen, even though I think Russell will beat Hamilton. So it's got to be Verstappen.
Ooh.
But yeah, my backup to that would be Russell.
I'm not going to write down the backups.
No.
I'm going to say Hamilton. I think if that car's competitive, which I think that team should be, he is going to be so fired up after the... I'm not saying this as a fact, but quote-unquote injustice of last year. Which leaves Colin Barr.
He's got to get his elbows out more this year with Max if he is going to win it.
Yeah.
If the cars can fall as close as they say they can, he's going to have to get his elbows out.
Oh, by the way, I don't believe
that.
that.
Right. So that's our big question. Will the cars actually fall close?
No.
I think it'll be maximum Verstappen.
Max. So are we doing teams?
Teams, I think.
Yep.
Red Bull.
Oh. Red Bull for Colin. For Nick?
Ferrari.
Wow, that is interesting. Ooh, goodness me. I'm tempted to say Haas. I'm going Mercedes again. What other predictions are we doing, Colin?
First crash.
First crash. That's what
Oh, Mazepin's gone.
Yeah, first in-race crash.
Right.
I am going to go with Tsunoda.
Okay. Yep.
Stroll.
Ah, yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I think we mentioned Lance Stroll.
No,
so far
actually,
this episode.
I'm going to change it to Albon.
Oh, yeah.
Just feeling
Good
unlucky
shout.
on that. Yeah.
I was going to suggest best rookie, but there's only one this year, isn't there?
Is there?
Joe.
Zhou Guan Yu.
Oh, right, yeah. So he's going to win that. Number of times.
You'd hope so.
Number of times Max says unbelievable.
725.
775. Okay, I won't write that one down. No, that's good, isn't it? First team's title, driver's title, first in race crash. Shall we do like last in constructors? Last in teams.
Alpha.
Ooh.
But there's one of about 5 teams it could be.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'm a bit worried about them.
I'm going to say Williams, sadly. But it's probably going to be Alpha, isn't it? I just thought, well, I'll be different.
It's mostly Zhou Guan Yu. Still can't get it right to say that way. I just don't think he'll do too well just because of being a rookie of this year. So he's not going to pick up as many points as Bottas should.
That's fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
But we know what he's like when he's in the midfield.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the racecraft.
What racecraft?
He needs to get some sim racing done.
Well, every Monday night, 8 o'clock, we do have a Gran Turismo hobby.
Yeah.
Well,
Surprise of the season.
oh.
Ooh.
Last year I said McLaren would win. I was going to say Alpine would win, but then they won last year, so it's not much of a surprise.
Surely you've already given your prediction for that with Hulkenberg's podium.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Or win.
Hulkenberg win. Poland win. Get on it.
Hulkenberg, Poland win. I'm writing that down.
I think I think Alonso will win the race this year.
Oh, Alonso win. Okay.
Ooh,
That's my pick.
interesting.
Now it caught me on the hop with this question. Surprised of the year.
Spain might be exciting. There's a surprise.
I'm gonna. You've inspired me, and I'm gonna say something. The Miami race might be actually quite good.
Yeah, I'm totally lost on this one at the moment.
I was gonna do something about Gunter Steiner not swearing for charity. Like one of the team managers, like Hamilton announces retirement and becomes Haas team owner or something.
Well, you just sort of thought of my possible surprise there. So I was going to say it all goes wrong and Hamilton retires mid-season.
Oh,
I don't believe it's going to happen, but it would just be brilliant if I got that right. So
you can win a reduced vegan moussaka if that's
cold.
Correct. Yeah, I'll save it. I'll not eat it. I'll not eat my tea, and I'll post it to you if you get that right.
So obviously there's a bunch of tracks coming back this year. It's going to be new tracks as well. So Australia's back. Miami's debuted. Imola has been confirmed for the next few years.
Oh yes.
Also going to get the return to Canada, which I'm excited about. My favourite track.
Love that.
We also have the return to Singapore. Suzuka.
Yay! Gravel traps.
And then the possible Las Vegas race. Which would be on the streets, as I understand it.
Also,
down the strip.
Interesting. Also, Spa's basically new, right? Did you
Spa's been refurbished.
Oh, yeah.
They add gravel traps and
Yeah.
move some of the barriers. But the actual track's supposed to be the same.
Australia's going to be quite revamped though, isn't it? They've
Yes.
Oh yeah.
changed many of those corners.
I'm really excited for Australia being back.
Good atmosphere. Not that I've been, but a country that loves motorsport, so that's always a winner.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think there's any other new or different tracks we're going to, but I think that is everything.
MotoGP's going to a new track. Is it Mandalika? I can't probably pronounce that wrong. In Indonesia. Anyway, the point is, it's one of the worst circuits I've ever seen. It's just flat and boring. Every corner looks the same. So it could be worse.
So there's supposed to be some tweaks to Saudi Arabia, which is in 2 weeks' time, a week and a half time. But I don't know actually if they've done those. Proper podcast, I would have checked that. But
Yeah, that's no fun.
Yeah. We're not actually professionals, so it's fine. We do it for the love of it.
the goodness of our heart.
Yeah, I think they're only minor changes though, aren't they? So it's possible they could still do them. I mean, they built the whole track like 2 days before it was going last time, so
Yeah. That's it, I think, for the new tracks, change tracks. Couple bits of news though over the winter. Biggest one is that our friend Michael Massey has departed us. To where? I'm not sure.
I was going to say, you do make it sound like he's died.
Well, in F1 terms, he's gone forever. He's somewhere else in the FIA.
Yeah, well, we still don't know where that is, what his role
Making
is.
somebody's tea, or I don't know what he's doing, but he's not there anymore. So he's been replaced by Niels Vittich and Eduardo Freitas. Niels Vittich, I think, was DTM. The other guy, I can't remember.
The Le Mans Virtual Series. Come on.
Oh yes, that's the main one, obviously.
The 24 Hours of Le Mans Virtual. He was recruited from that. But WEC, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah. So they're going to share duties rather than one person do every race. Michael Massey gone. I think that's effectively an admission by the FIA that they got it wrong last year. Although they've still not released a report into Abu Dhabi, which I don't think they're going to see, to be honest.
Not all of it, anyway.
No, but they have changed the rules. They've changed the safety car rules. They've changed the wording so that any lapped car is now been changed to all lapped cars.
Yes.
So Red Bull can shut up about that next year if the same thing happens. And we've also got a new medical car driver.
Who is?
The current? I don't know. I think it's two. I think it's two people because I think the current Van der Merwe or Merwe.
Yeah.
He didn't want to get vaccinated, so he's been canned for this season. So that was probably the big bits of news.
And new safety car and medical cars as well. Well, I can't remember what the difference was, but we have new ones from Mercedes.
Yep.
Oh, I've not seen
Aston's gone. Aston's gone already.
What is it?
Oh, no, Aston, they're still sharing duties.
I thought it was just going to be two Mercedes swapping.
No, the two Mercedes are replacing the ones that were being used last year, but they're still going to be the same Aston Martins that were there last year.
Right, okay.
Is it the Black Series? It is.
I think
That's
so,
a
yes.
beast. Is it Maylander still driving it? Legend.
I would assume so.
Yeah. That is a mad road car.
Yeah.
And when you see it driving around on its very limit, and the F1 cars look like they need to go quicker, and all the drivers going, he's only doing 100 miles an hour, it makes you appreciate how much quicker a Formula 1 car is to one of the very best road cars in the world.
One thing that was interesting, and I can't remember exactly what it said now, but there will be no light bar on the Mercedes safety car.
It's in the window.
In the rear. Yeah. Some kind of LED
Yep.
thing, I think. But yeah, it just looked weird seeing a safety car without flashing lights on top.
The medical car still does, Mercedes. Yes. But yes, you're right. It's got like LED lights in the window.
Has it got like one of those dot matrix things so they can put messages?
Exactly what I think.
Max was right up his backside.
Back off.
To go faster, he can just put F off on the back of it.
You're being recorded on dashcam.
I am not going too slow, Lewis.
So yeah, I think the Massey replacement was inevitable after last year. I don't want to rehash that.
No, that's not good.
No. But it was going to happen, wasn't it? The way it done. So.
I didn't feel like it for a minute, though.
No.
For me, it was dragging on so long, I was like, here we go. He's just going to keep it.
Again, I'm not sure what FIA's report can say now, and I've been the guy who messed it up, and they've changed the rules that he used, so I don't really think there's much more you can say. Nah. There is also going to be a virtual race control, supporting race control.
Yep.
Well, I thought they already kind of had that anyway, but I'm not sure.
Probably not. So they've got VAR next year and this year in F1.
I mean, this has all come about since the new FIA president, right? Mohammed bin Salim.
Yes.
Might have butchered the final pronunciation there. Apologies.
I think you got it right. I'm not sure.
But who knows if this was actually already moving before he became the president.
Yeah.
But former rally driver. That's good for the BRC fans, I think.
Well, the race director for Bahrain as well has already said that the white line is the track limit, and that's the end of that.
Right.
I'm hoping that's for the whole season, but at the moment that's for Bahrain.
Let's see what happens when it actually starts.
Mm-hmm.
But that's meant to be the rule, isn't it? The new thing for this year. So
it was supposed to be, yeah. But he actually said the article, and I can't remember exactly. I think it was 33.3. States that the white line is the track limits, not the curbs. And so he said that is what will be enforced.
So, but that you can still go over it, right? As long as you're not four wheels over it.
Oh yes, yeah.
Okay. It won't change too much then, I don't think. But
no, it's just hopefully it won't be like every other track is. Well, yeah, you can go wide on this bit.
Exactly, but not on this bit.
Yeah. I just hope it is just consistent.
That makes sense.
Any more wild predictions anyone wants to throw out there? Any random bit gossip they want to cover?
Will Jason Plato have a drive next year? Oh, sorry, wrong podcast.
No. The BTCC preview will be gone.
Yeah.
But the season doesn't start till May, I think.
Yeah, a long way off.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a little bit of time. Still got about 7 or 8 seats still to go.
9 I think it is.
But Formula One wise, nope. I just hope the next season of Drive to Survive is a bit better,
Yes.
because the racing is less political and more just like, ooh, whose car will suit this track? Nick sold me the dream there, so I'm going to roll with it.
Yeah, I still think that's going to be it.
I hope that we're talking about. Well, I hope we're as engaged as we were last year, but for the right reasons.
Yes, that's
For
it.
actual racing rather than controversy and FIA and dodgy tactics and etc. etc. I hope it's just we're talking about the track action.
Well, there is 2 more predictions we can do. Sorry,
Ooh,
Colin.
go for it. Go for it.
Just simply who's on pole in Bahrain and who's going to win in Bahrain.
I'm not going to write those down. We'll have to try and remember.
No.
It's only 2 days away. If we're struggling with that, we're in trouble.
Oh, I'm pretty tired. I think Leclerc's going to be on pole.
Mm-hmm.
And I think...
I'm with you on that.
Oh, who's going to be on pole, Colin?
Max.
Right, I was going to say I think Max will win the race.
Damn you, that's what I was going to say. I think there'll be some
Say
kind
it.
of issue at Ferrari in the pit stop.
That's very specific,
And-
though.
Max will come through and win. Sainz will be second. Russell will be third, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Bit of a George fanboy here.
I personally think Russell is the best of the crop that came up from F2 in the last few years, ahead of Leclerc, Norris,
Interesting.
all of those. I think he's the best one.
I mean, he beat them all, didn't he?
This is the season we'll find out. This is the year we'll find out how good he actually is.
Exactly, yeah.
Obviously, spanked Bottas and he's won out in the Mercedes already.
Yeah.
Which leaves Colin, who's going to win the race?
Max. I'm starting to sound like a Max fanboy, but Max.
Yeah.
I've changed allegiances over the winter. I've come round.
Sweet.
And anyone going to any races this year?
No.
No.
Don't have the
Requisite funds.
mortgage available.
Yeah.
No.
It'll be
I
nice.
was thinking about when we try to do one, because actually the tickets for ones abroad are cheaper than Silverstone.
Well, I was
but
gonna
then you've got
say-
the flights.
Yeah, pre Brexit and COVID, a trip to Spa, driving across,
Yeah.
was a very affordable way of doing it. And it's Spa at the end of the day, which is winner. But you can't plan for that at the minute, I don't think, still.
No.
That's a no.
Touring cars it is.
Yeah. Come on, I'm actually going to do it this year. Sort it out. Right. Anyway, we'll discuss that later.
So, yep. So season kicks off this weekend. Bahrain, then Saudi Arabia, Australia, and more. And then we're in Miami. I think after those 5, we'll have a good idea where everyone sits.
Oh, yes.
And we'll see you next week. So excited everyone's back.
Let's go.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Nick. What was a good one?
Thank you.
I'm off to go play my Fleetwood Mac LP.
You're away to eat that 10 pence Masaka that's been sitting
Oh,
there for an
yes.
hour.
I do need my food. Yeah.
Yes.